Right now we're on Langdon Street, turning onto Francis Street, and I want you actually here to walk with me because we have a crowd here of, I would guess, a few hundred people. And we are definitely feeling that snow picking up here, the wind as well. I'm really glad I'm wearing this mask tonight because it keeps my face warm. Things are quiet here now, but just hours ago, as the Pereas across the street were watching water pour into their basement, they heard screams coming from over here as a man had been swept away by the water and was starting to get pulled under the road. Right now, the street is still closed. That's a portion of East Main Street where that substation is, where that first explosion happened. And crews are actually still on scene. It's so much of a different scene here than what you just saw with AJ in Kenosha. We've now made it back to the Capitol. Last we spoke, we were on Francis Street, turning onto State Street. We just marched all the way up State Street, and now you've got this crowd, which is quite large, as you can see. This theater could normally seat around 300 people, but as Marcus reopens, it will seat only 10. This is the bridge where the truck drove off. You can see search teams beneath sending people in right now. The lake is frozen solid, so they've had to drill a hole in the ice, and they say the extreme cold temperatures of the water are taking a toll both on their equipment and the divers themselves. They say they fed about a third of the hay they bought to their horses before they realized what was wrong. Now they're stuck with a whole barn full of it, and they don't know what to do. The homeowner said that he chased the intruder from the window over to this fence where he says if you look in the dirt, you can still see footprints from when the intruder changed directions and took off that way. After listening to speeches on MLK Boulevard, the group is now on the move, chanting through Madison streets, hundreds marching in support of Asian American lives.
There's Owen.
The pandemic was a big change for 13-year-old Owen Dubry.
COVID hit him pretty hard. He's a very social kid, so kind of that isolation changed him a little bit.
But change isn't new for Owen.
I would say it was about 10 when he came to us and said he associated as a male.
Owen was born female. Mom Sarah says the family supported him. But while isolation kept him safe from the virus, something just as sinister started slowly infecting him.
It's much easier to say on social media, like, ew, gross, you're transgender, where someone probably wouldn't say that to their face.
Unable to be with his friends, Owen found a community that accepted him online, messaging with people on Instagram he didn't even know, until that community turned on him.
That was when my son he took action and tried to commit suicide. There were at least 800 messages sent to my son telling him to kill himself.
Owen spent 8 days in an emergency facility. The Wisconsin Office of Children's Mental Health says this state is among the top 5 for most insurance claims for intentional self-harm injuries during the pandemic, a 100% increase in claims for teens in 2020 compared to 2019. The mental health crisis is not new to the pandemic. State health data shows an increase each year in people using mental health services until 2020, when there was actually a slight drop. Even though it may look like fewer people need help, that's not what that number means.
Correct.
Anna Moffett with Maumee-Dane County says while the crisis was exploding, the availability of services was slim.
I think when we all went into sheltering in place, people obviously were worried about going out.
Owen Dubry needs a type of continued support that just isn't available.
The wait list is about 3 months long for him to get into any of those facilities.
3 months that they don't have. Weeks later, Owen tried to take his life again.
I think my story is exactly what's going to happen with other individuals, that a scare happens, you bring them to the right facility, you do the things that you need to, and then they come home, but they're not healthy yet, and they need more support.
Wait times have been an issue since I have been engaged with the behavioral health system.
Moffett says systemic changes are needed to address mental health from all levels of government because the need will only become greater.
There's really going to be this collective trauma that we've experienced and that will need to be addressed down the road.
She's optimistic that because the crisis is now so visible, it will finally be addressed. But change comes slowly, and for a family and a boy dealing with so many changes, slowly won't cut it.
I can call until I'm blue in the face, but that's not going to make a bed open up.
In Dane County, Andrew Merica, 27 News. In uncertain times, look for the helpers. At Caritas Food Pantry in Beloit, you'll find plenty. All working hard to make sure families that are struggling have a happy Thanksgiving.
Gotta have some gravy.
The families these meals will help have kids in Beloit schools.
Our numbers are way up. We've got families living in cars, garages, tents, doubling up, tripling up with other people.
Robin Stutt works with the district's homeless families.
276 homeless students so far this school year.
Many families may have a place to cook without a regular place to stay. Normally, each school helps with Thanksgiving meals, but with the pandemic, staff can't get together.
She called me.
Max Dodson runs Caritas, a pantry experiencing its own increased demand.
That was the largest October we've had since I've been here, and I've been here for 3 years.
But together, they got to work, figuring out where to get money and food to help feed Beloit families.
We just pulled in resources from everywhere.
There's 125 turkeys to hand out, plus everything else. But for the people here, it's about more than just the meals.
It allows them a moment to feel normal, that they're getting to have an experience like all the other families are having.
In that brief moment of service, there's conversation, a little shared humor, a little shared thankfulness. It's those moments.
The meals not picked up Monday will be delivered Tuesday. Caritas is already gearing up to deliver Christmas meals next month. As the pandemic forces holidays only with those in our homes, remember those who don't have homes. And look for the helpers. In Beloit, Andrew Merica, 27 News.
This was the dining room.
Scott Mickelson had just gone to bed last weekend when at 3 a.m.
Her watch stopped at 3:20.
the unthinkable.
My daughter was upstairs there, and to tell you the truth, I don't remember her coming down. I just remember being with her on the sidewalk.
Their home in flames.
By the time we got to the garage, 30 feet away, the windows blew out and the whole house pretty much erupted in flames.
This is what remains of Scott's living room. Everything charred by the flames, a complete loss along with the rest of his house. But Scott says all of these are things that are replaceable, and the people who aren't replaceable are all right.
My teenage daughter, Ashley, and my girlfriend, Jody, and my yellow lab, Tegan. So we all made it out. Someone was watching over us, I really believe.
Mickelson says the fire started near the kitchen, setting off the smoke detectors and waking everyone up.
I can't tell people how important smoke detectors are. I implore people to check them today as soon as they see this and get as many as you can in your house, I guess.
Since the fire, the Mazomanie community has responded. Nearly $10,000 raised on a GoFundMe page.
I put $5,000 on there just to, as a starting point. I knew it would go above and beyond that, and it still will probably.
Mickelson has a place to stay for now, but he's looking to rebuild.
Thank you to everyone. I know with my village I'll be able to get it done, I hope. And get my daughter into a house.
In Mazomanie, Andrew Merica, 27 News. A mother.
My baby.
Standing in front of a hospital, friends and family by her side.
My baby.
Fighting through tears to find the right words to say. But saying all she needs to.
My baby.
Thursday morning at 11:11 a.m., 11-year-old Anissa Scott will leave us. But also, she won't.
I will always cherish the 11 years I did get to spend with her. Anissa will always be right here.
The strength and courage of a girl who loved monster trucks, school, and basketball.
Her favorite basketball player was Stephen Curry.
Shining bright through her family and friends Wednesday night.
I had the best niece in the world. She was an amazing basketball player. She was my best friend.
She always did the right thing and stuck up for us. I love her. Anissa was an amazing basketball player, an amazing friend, and she will never be forgotten because...
For nearly 36 hours, this strong girl has been fighting for her life. Shot in the head in broad daylight while riding in a car, police say the shooters weren't aiming for her, but they got her, forcing a family to make the hardest decision.
My grandbaby. We'll take her wings. We ask you for continued love and support and prayers.
A family, a mother, and a father preparing for life without their little girl.
I love you with all my heart, baby. And one day we'll meet again.
Now again, this girl is only 11 years old. Her life ending here tomorrow because of gun violence. We're reporting live in Madison tonight. Andrew Merica, 27 News. Thousands of people lined the streets in Fort Atkinson to watch the Memorial Day parade, but there was one special guest who got a front row seat.
For many, many years, up until I think 3 years ago, my dad was marching in the parade, and then he was very proudly was the American flag holder of the American flag and the color guard.
Sergeant Laverne Borkhardt led the way down Main Street as Grand Marshal in a shiny red Mustang. On the side, a happy birthday, age 100.
Being a veteran and having his 100th birthday fall on Memorial Day was kind of a really interesting and appropriate thing.
Sergeant Borkhardt fought in Europe during World War II, including in the Battle of the Bulge.
100 years young today.
He was honored in a ceremony before the parade at the American Legion, at the cemetery following the parade, and at the VFW for lunch.
It's such an honor to have these guys still here, and their ranks are growing a lot thinner because they're all getting up to be 100 years old.
For the Borkhardt family, it was the best way to pay tribute to their patriarch.
For us, on a day like today, I know a lot of people out having picnics and doing all that. It starts really with this, and this part of the program and this part of a little community celebration is important to the family.
A remembrance of service and a celebration of a century.
It's a blessing we had today.
In Fort Atkinson, Andrew Merica, 27 News.